Hello and welcome to episode 9 of deValiante Reads Highway Blossoms by Studio Elon. This kinetic novel was part of Humble Bundle's bundle for racial justice and equality. It also contains strong language, sexual themes, and deals with loss and grieving. If you are not in a headspace to handle these topics, please consider skipping this video. Now, without further ado, let's get started. The engine dies. I can still hear the power buzzing before it surges down, leaving us with the ambiance of the settling motorhome.
We're here.
Not a lot of cars here, huh?
Guess the rest of the world just hasn't caught up yet.
That won't last for long. Any day now. People will figure out it's here, and an army of would-be treasure hunters will be swarming this place, drooling at the chance to find gold. The last of the gold. There's a fluttering in my chest, and I tighten my grip on the wheel. It's the end of our adventure.
I bet our names have spread across the land and struck fear into the hearts of our rivals, giving them no other choice but to call it quits.
Yeah. Or maybe someone already came through and found the treasure.
What? Don't say something scary like that!
Still wrapped around the wheel, my clammy hands start shaking. Marina takes notice, looking over with sympathetic eyes.
Hey.
She takes her hand and gently places it on top of mine, giving it a reassuring squeeze. I let both fall into my lap. She's warm.
We're doing this together, okay?
The flutters tickle the inside of my chest until I can't stop smiling.
Right. Let's do it.
Regretfully, I force out a nod and pull my hand out from Marina's. It feels wrong, like throwing away a precious gift. Reaching into the console, I retrieve the journal for what may be the last time. It's well loved, a bent spine, wrinkled pages, and folded corners on the flimsy paper cover. Looking back, it's been getting roughed up since the moment we got it. Ever since that weird station attendant let Marina have it for free way back at the Traveler store. Hard to believe this cheap thing was a roadmap to something so valuable. Taking a deep breath, I skim over the final entry. After several days of travel, I believe I have finally arrived at my first destination. I also believe that I have already read this, and now I am being forced to read it again. However, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I am just going to use this voice to talk over what is going on the screen. As I said earlier, I have already read this, and I will not be reading it again, because it's a bunch of riddle stuff that I really do not care about. And because I do not really care about riddle stuff, because I want
Windstone Arch.
Windstone Arch, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to finish that rant. Before I was rudely interrupted, I was saying that this game is going to solve it for me, so let's go. It's probably the vaguest entry so far, but I can feel it. It has to be there. I slap the journal shut and lay it to rest on the center console, right next to the cassette tapes. Marina and I look at each other, now sharing the same piercing determination.
All right. Let's get this show on the road.
Because of the lack of crowds, getting around is a lot easier than usual, allowing us to take in the scenery for once instead of slogging through zombified hordes. Even though there's not many people around, it somehow feels fuller here. Everywhere we walk, we're surrounded by layered dunes of sandstone towering over us, striped with faded reds and calico browns. Somehow we do eventually manage to find the Windstone Arch. Unlike the arch that's back in Utah, it isn't big and majestic. It's not a giant upside-down horseshoe that lords over us as we look on in awe. It's not even an arch, as much as it is a cave, really. Just a jagged, overgrown rock with a few crevices big enough for a person to enter. Still, despite the fact that it doesn't compare to the size of grandeur or everything else we've seen together so far, And despite that it hardly took us any time at all to find it, it's still imposing. The longer I stare at it, the bigger it gets, like it's judging us. It isn't calling into question our abilities or even if we can find it. It's gauging us to see if we're ready. Are we? I look over to Marina. A small bulge forms in her throat before she swallows it back down. Is she? I return my gaze to the arch, asking the same questions over and over in my head. Am I? Finally, we look at each other. Marina readies the metal detector strapped to her back and gives me a nod, which I return. Even if we aren't ready, even if this is the worst mistake of my life, this is something both of us have to do. Our steps in sync, we march over the rocks and desert shrubs before crouching into the cavern. Sunlight squeezes into the cave, dyeing the rock columns neon red. Marina begins scanning with the metal detector, listening intently for a beep. The narrow space forces us to huddle together as we heave our way through the arch, repeatedly brushing against each other. At first it's accidental, but I find myself craving it more. To get closer, to feel her, to watch her hair, to watch as her hair absorbs the brilliant glow of the cave. I'm deprived of all of that as her metal detector vibrates in her hand, making a low rumble. She takes off the headphones and points to the wall.
There!
I avert my gaze and move past her, taking a knee as I slip the bag off my shoulder and pull out a mandrel axe. Careful not to hit her, I start chiseling away at the rock. Soon, the crack in the wall grows, and small pebbles and gravel start flying off. I reposition myself and block Marina from getting hit by any of it. A small portion of the wall crumbles away, and after a few strikes, reveals a hollow space, just big enough to squeeze your hand into. This is gonna suck if some creepy thing's gone and made it its home in there. Shuddering, I reach into the space and feel something square and wooden. With some budging, it comes free and easily slides out. A box. Its familiarity is expected, but it doesn't stop my heart from leaping any less, nor Marina's, who squeaks out a gasp.
Ready?
This time she barely nods, unsure of what to say, but like ripping off a bandage, I swing the lid open before she can give any real answer. Nuggets. A pile of them filled from the top to bottom with misshapen and morphed. The sight isn't anything new, but this time it feels different. It's like for the first time the reality is finally sunk in and everything up until now has been a haze. We both just stare at it. An entire universe of thoughts race through my mind, yet it all comes up blank.
What now?
It's directed towards myself. It's directed more towards myself than Marina, but it's the first thing I managed to spit out and ultimately the most important. Marina doesn't answer at first, instead just tilting her head, trying to process the question. But finally, she gives a simple smile.
I saw a sign for a trail on the way over here. Why don't we go hiking?
Hiking. I freeze for a second, then laugh under my breath. The more I think about the simplicity behind her words, the more I laugh, until I border on sounding like a hysterical madman.
Hiking? For real?
I keep laughing, struggling to keep it together, even after I start having trouble breathing. Poor Marina isn't in on the joke, though, and within a matter of seconds her face goes from confusion to concern, then pouting.
I don't know why you're laughing. I was being serious, you know?
Settling down, I wipe a fake tear away from my eye, an occasional chuckle still managing to break through.
No, I know you were.
Then what's so funny?
Nothing, just...
finally regain complete composure and smile at her.
Yeah, sure. Let's go hiking. That sounds nice. Can you please keep to the signs?
I will. Stop being such a worrywart.
Marina skips through the sand, gleefully oblivious that her trail is a badly marked patch of dirt over the plains of the Mojave.
That's what you said last time. If you're not careful, we're gonna get lost. Again.
Aw, you didn't like those old cabins we found?
It gets old after the second time, Mare.
It kills daylight, too. The sun has faded to orange and will soon sink out of view. There's no way we're getting back before dark. But hey, maybe that's not such a bad thing. We've already found the treasure, so spending some time with Marina is a nice reward.
So, about this fire wave thing. And yes, I know it's not an ocean of lava, smarty pants.
Damn, I must be running out of material.
I mean, it's so cool. Well, it's hot, I guess. But what is it?
What's the fire wave? It's a, windy thing that winds around rocks and stuff and looks like fire. At least, I think that's what it was.
Oh?
A devilish grin slinks onto Marina's face, and she attaches herself to me like Velcro, nudging my shoulders.
You don't know what it is either, do you?
What? Do so.
Her grin grows until I force myself to look away. She's not going to get the satisfaction.
I've seen pictures.
Oh, you've seen pictures? What sort of pictures?
You know, the picture-y kind.
I can just feel her reveling in this. For the first time, she's got me playing right into her hands.
Oh, shut up.
I feel a slap against my wrist, then a tug. Looking down, I see Marina's bright dimples shining through her round cheeks.
Why don't we find out together?
I'm stunned. It's a position we've been in before, but it's supposed to be the other way around. I'm always pulling her. That's my job. But now it's her smooth fingers locked around my wrist. Her fingernails grazing above my skin. The realization doesn't even have time to sink in before she propels herself forward with me in tow.
Hey, wait! Hold on!
I kick up sand and grit as I'm practically dragged along by Marina, who meets my yelps with silence. Then she halts as quickly as she took off, leaving me to shoot forward and stumble to a stop.
You could have at least warned me before ya...
I go silent. Marina does too. The fire wave. Swirling ribbons of red wrap around the hillside and stretch out to the horizon. The setting sun casts light and shadow across the ground and the sky, shading it all with intense golds, pinks, and purples. The sun dims. A shred of stray light passes over the shade and shines directly on us. Directly on Marina. She stares on, silent. I can feel every glint of emotion coming from her. Every breath taken away. Every raw feeling that builds up inside her only to be choked back down. All of it. I glance between her and the scene stretched out before us. The pockets of sky with their deep, vivid colors are beautiful, but the choice is easy. I fixate on Marina. Her clear, sweet blue eyes, her cute round cheeks, her lips as they quiver ever so slightly. Laying a hand on her shoulder, I turn her towards me and softly touch her cheek. Her mouth slips open with a faint gasp, but takes is a gentle stroke of her face for that uncertainty to be wiped away. Marina holds my gaze. My eyes relax, and I step closer so I can feel the warmth of her body against mine. And I lean in and press my lips to hers. So soft. I keep myself pressed against her, letting my lips move with the natural flow. But she doesn't press back. Afraid, I pull away, but before I can step back, she pulls me closer and lets her lips melt into mine. I let the pattern take control. Our mouths move inside each other, full of tender caution as we ease in. We repeat the process infinitely, bathed in the light of sunset. The two of us exchange something. Eventually, I pull back, unsure of what to say, and scared of what I could. We turn back and find the last rays of sunlight slipping behind the sand. Something brushes against my hand, tickling for a moment before intertwining between my fingers. Her grip is loose, but I wrap my fingers around so that I'm holding her firmly. We watch the last of the light drift into a peaceful evening together.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
Oh God, why? What have I done? Her back is turned to me like mine is to hers. I claw my nails deeper into the scratchy couch fabric and I stick my gaze on the floor. Please end me now. It was silent after we did that. Nice silence, a blissful release of silence. But as we walked back, terror started to sink in. I think she felt it too. I listened to the buzz of the generator and stare at a patch of artificial light on the wall. Stupid little boxes making fun of me, I swear.
So what now?
Funny, that's the same thing I asked when we found the treasure, except she sounds even more hopeless and confused than I did. Bringing my legs to my chest, I bundle my arms around them and put on a nervous smirk.
We could always go hiking again.
She throws a mock slap at my shoulder, feigning a huffy voice.
You would like that, wouldn't you?
The heavy embarrassment in the air melts away into something a little more comfortable as we both manage to laugh at my perviness. Marina lets out a whiny cry and slides against the couch.
But seriously, what are we gonna do?
About what?
About everything. The treasure, home, us.
My heart tightens like she's squeezing it.
Did you not?
No, I did. I do. I just don't know.
She turns to me, her eyes pleading, like she's looking for answers. There's no doubt I'm responsible for those eyes. Feeling a fierce sense of responsibility, I shoot up and march to the center console.
Amber?
Hold on.
I open the console, but don't bother digging around. I know exactly where these are. 2 irreplaceable pieces of paper. Stopping in front of the couch, my voice darkens.
I'll be using my half of the treasure to pay for Gramps' hospital and funeral expenses. But before I do that, I still need to go to the music festival.
I offer one of the tickets. Unsure, she gently tugs it from my hand and begins reading.
If you want to, you can go with me. Might give you a little extra time to think about things.
My voice softens.
About everything.
The festival? Me?
Up to you, babe.
Aww. I flop back on the couch and hold the ticket over my eyes to block out the light.
Oh?
Oh crap. She peels the ticket off halfway and peeks through, revealing an amused grin.
So I'm babe now, huh?
On her hands and knees, Marina crawls over ever so closer, while I scramble to turn and hide my face.
Shut up. It was an accident.
And now I'm back to where I started, mortified and embarrassed.
Amber?
Her voice is like a melody.
Shut up.
Amber.
I said shut up.
Oh, Amber.
What?
A tank engine plows into my back, followed by soft, gentle arms wrapping around my neck as she rests her head against mine.
Thank you.
My shoulders relax, embracing her. In turn, I rest my hand on hers too. A head sandwich.
Sure thing, kiddo.
Once we're quiet, the awkwardness sets in again. Where I don't know if I should be saying something to fill the silence or if I should leave it be. Is she thinking the same thing? Is she also worried? I sneak glance after worried glance down, but I can't see her face. Her hand wanders around like she doesn't know what to do. She touches her face and scratches her leg, picks at a fold in her skirt, pops her knuckles. So she is nervous.
Hey.
The top of her head bumps my chin as she flinches.
Hey.
You good?
Yeah.
You don't seem good.
No, I am. Sorry, I'm just...
Rather than hurry her along, like I sometimes do, I wait for her to find the words.
just worried, I guess. I know you have, but I've never had a girlfriend before.
I start to say something, but she hurriedly cuts me off.
I don't mean it like that. Well, I do, but I've also never had a boyfriend before. Not a real one, anyway.
You had a fake boyfriend, though?
Barely. Like, in middle school, there was this guy who asked if I'd be his girlfriend, and I said okay. But then the next day, he said his mom told him he wasn't allowed to have a girlfriend, so we broke up.
Sounds brutal.
Right? And then junior year of high school, I kind of dated this guy for like a month, but I didn't really like him. My friends just wanted me to.
That's screwed up.
I don't know, not really. They weren't trying to be mean or anything, and he wasn't a bad person. He was just... boring.
Oh.
Like, for our first date, we went to dinner and a movie. But dinner was just fast food, and he spilled ketchup all over himself. And I don't even remember what movie we saw. He put his arm around the back of my chair, and I thought he was trying to put his arm around me, so I kind of got closer, but nope. He just kept it there. Like he was just stretching.
She giggles at the memory.
Honestly, I'd forgotten about all that until now. That's how not a real boyfriend he was. What about you?
I'm glad that right now things seem normal. Maybe if she's talking, she forgets about being worried.
Well, I've never had a boyfriend.
Marina punches me in the shoulder.
You know what I meant. I could have guessed that much.
Hey now, I'm just being clear. But yeah, I've had other girlfriends.
Isn't it bad manners to talk about this, especially early in a relationship? She asked, though.
They counted, though it wasn't really anything serious either. By the time I was old enough for a serious relationship, I was too busy with taking care of Gramps to focus on one. But at least no one's mom ever told them they had to break up with me.
Listen, it was hard when I was 12. For like a day or two.
I'll bet. Anyway, yeah, there was this girl I was with through a chunk of high school. We broke up in junior year, I think. She wanted to focus on school. She ended up getting a full ride to a nice college, so I guess she made the right call.
Marina doesn't miss a beat.
Nah, it was her loss.
I shift to free my arm that's pressed against Marina's side, and instead wrap it around her. At first I can feel her tense up, but then she gradually relaxes until most of her weight rests on me.
So, Amber?
She doesn't answer.
Mare?
Sorry, never mind.
She looks up and smiles at me, and I smile back. Maybe it's better not to think too much right now, or ask too many questions. It's just the two of us being happy with each other, not minding that we're both sweaty and kind of gross right now, or that we haven't eaten in hours. Or so I think. It isn't long before she yawns and looks up at me apologetically.
Oh, oops.
It's okay. I'm kind of tired too.
I'm not. I'm too excited still. I don't want her to feel bad about going to bed. Plus, we did a lot of hiking today. I unwind my arm from her and switch which hand holds hers so that we can stand up. She's fidgety again and shifting her weight from foot to foot. Well, I guess it'll take some time getting used to for both of us. I let go of her hand. It falls limply back to her side, like she lost control of it. Looking me in the eye, I can tell she's waiting for me to say or do something. I take a step towards her, closing the short distance between us.
Well, good night.
And then I lean in and kiss her again. Briefly. Enough that she doesn't even really have time to react before I pull away. She blinks twice, then rubs her lips and smiles.
Good night.
She walks backwards away from me, still smiling, and I'm grinning like an idiot too, of course. I'm tempted, so tempted to invite her to sleep in my bed, just to be close to her still. But I don't, since she's still so nervous and unsure. I don't want to make that harder for her. I lick my lips as I go turn off the lights, still tasting the sweetness of her on them. That's called sweat. As I climb into bed, listening for the sounds of her breathing, I don't expect to get much sleep of my own tonight. Thank you for joining me for episode 9 of Highway Blossoms by Studio Elon. Episode 10 will be out shortly. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment letting me know what you like down below. Please no hate or spoilers, as I'm not above removing those comments and the people who make them. That's all for now, folks, and I'll see you next time.